Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Hello and welcome back to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. I hope that you are doing well on this Friday, the 6th of March. That's correct, 6th of March. Can you believe it? 3 months into 2026. How you doing already? Oh, well, there are some days that the weather is like, hey, it's going to be 50 degrees. It's going to be great. The sun is out. Perfect. Wonderful. And then there are days it's like, nah, we're just getting takesies, backsies, right? From the Corey Richards case. If you didn't watch it yesterday, Mr. Bloodworth had said that he was done with the witness. He was tendering the witness over to the defense. And then they took a break. And then he's like, takesy backsies, judge. I kid you not. That's hilarious. Anyways, what are we talking about today? Well, since the Corey Richards case is on hiatus today, which is great, I thought I would go back and catch up on some things for you. So I thought we would go back and just look at some of the stuff from the Tik Tok Psychic-Case. Why? Because I'm a nerd, you're a nerd. Sometimes we would like to look back and see, because it was in federal court, we didn't get to see things. So we get to see things that were filed, etc., and then get some other perspectives, etc. So I hope that you're interested, because this is what we're doing. So buckle up, because I got some great stuff for you. So first, I would like to talk to you about the Idaho Statesman. Yep, they wrote an article. We're going to read it. Yes, we are. And because why? Because they were covering it face to face. And so it is great to read this. All right. A Texas woman who was judge ruled defamed an Idaho University professor when she accused her on social media of orchestrating the November 2022 college student unalivings in Moscow. We'll learn how much her false public claims are going to cost her this week. TikToker, who has claimed that she has psychic abilities, is due in federal court in Boise starting Tuesday for a scheduled trial. A 4-day trial to finally resolve the 3-year-old civil suit brought by Rebecca Scofield. The case has outlived the criminal prosecution because, as you know, Brian Koberger pled guilty to unaliving the students. The criminal prosecution of the man convicted last summer of the 4 unalivings. U.S. Magistrate Judge Raymond Patricio, who looks like Big from Sex and the City, already ruled for the Scofield in June of 2024, and it's now left for a jury to decide the financial damages owed by TikToker. Scofield previously asked for more than $1.8 million. TikToker, who lived in Houston, but we found out that she was in France, published more than 100 videos that made erroneous allegations against Scofield, according to court records. The accusations including that the U of I professor had a romantic relationship with one of the 4 victims and ordered her unalivings to prevent the affair with the female student from becoming public. Professor Scofield, who lives in Moscow, sent a cease and desist letter to TikToker, but her demands were ignored. In late December 2022, professor, represented by a lawyer, Wendy Olson, who is a former U.S. attorney for Idaho, sued her in federal court. All right. We pretty much already have all the gist of that. So let's go to the next one, which is about all of the fun stuff that we want to hear about. We heard little bits and pieces about it, but let's see if we can get the rest. A University of Idaho professor detailed the debilitating mental and physical toll she had as she suffered for the past 3 years from a series of online videos that repeatedly blamed her for the unaliving of the Moscow college student unalivings while directly confronting her accuser for the first time this week in federal court. Rebecca Scofield, a tenured history professor and department chair at the flagship campus in North Idaho, described the downward spiral of her health starting in late November 2022 when TikToker posted with unsubstantiated allegations on her social media platforms spread rapidly. Scofield's anonymity and sense of security in the rural college town were shattered as false claims about her went viral and left her with severe grief and depression that manifested as chronic headaches and nerve damage throughout her body. It was like a stone on my chest that was not crushing me, it was dissolving me. Ooh. Scofield told the court she was holding back tears. I was unraveling underneath the weight of it. The TikTok videos created by TikToker, a tarot card reader who had asserted that she is clairvoyant, continued to publish despite the cease and desist letters. Under the pressures of public strain and ongoing media inquiries, Scofield further declined as fears over her safety of herself and her family took hold. She had to hit pause on several aspects of her still blossoming academic career, her university professors testified on Wednesday. It was international news, testified the Sean Quinlan, who is the dean of the U of I's College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. You could see it in terms of exhaustion. I was very concerned about how she was holding up in what seemed to be very trying circumstances. So she sued her in court for defamation. We work with intuition, not facts, said the defendant. Scofield previously sought more than $1.8 million. The trial's 8-member jury was seated Monday and will determine the amount at its conclusion. Among the jury members are an attorney who is co-counsel on a separate case with Olson, and also a woman whose daughter showed her some of TikTok's videos about Scofield during the height of the manhunt that eventually led to Koberger. A woman whose brother attends U of I and knew one of the 4 victims was also questioned by the FBI during the investigation, made the cut too. TikToker was representing herself in the case, and we went over that highly because of the dynamic and turning point at the trial occurred when the defendant spoke to Scofield for the first time while questioning her on the stand. We felt personally targeted, Scofield said Tuesday, raising her voice at TikToker. It felt like our children's lives were directly threatened and that my name was being thrown around by you, saying horrific accusations that were fully baseless and not even from the community we were resettled in. It felt like an attack from the outside. Olson, who is Scofield's lawyer, called TikToker to the stand on Wednesday and peppered her with questions after questions about what facts, rather than assumptions and inferences through her tarot card readings, she came to about her client before creating the videos. TikToker admitted despite some efforts with a subpoena and a separate public records request, there was none. Clear cognizance. We work with intuition, not facts, said TikToker. The facts are the job of law enforcement, not a psychic. In her efforts to limit the potential monetary damages she must pay, TikToker sought to tie Scofield's health issues to a total hysterectomy that she underwent in December of 2022 and also raised the lack of formal psychiatric diagnosis. Scofield has countered that she fully recovered from the surgery and that doctors, including her therapist scheduled to testify, have stated her physical challenges stem from the emotional damages from the unfounded allegations made by the TikToker. The defendant also has worked to establish that Scofield's career and earnings potential had been dramatically affected by the defamatory statements she made about the professor. On Wednesday, under questioning by TikToker, Quinlan acknowledged Scofield received at least one pay increase since her TikTok videos were published, and she also faced no limitations on her positions at the university. So that is that reporting. And then we have one more from the the Idaho Statesman. Let's bring this one up and add. All right. So it says tarot card TikToker must pay $10 million to professor. So a jury in Boise, Idaho awarded $10 million in damages Friday to the University of Idaho professor who sued the Texas woman for defamation over fabricated claims that she reportedly made on her social media that the academic was responsible for the Moscow college murders. Jurors deliberated for under 2 hours before handing down their decision, which awarded her far more than what she asked for. So, Scofield had testified that during the 4-day federal trial over monetary damages that she developed severe anxiety, PTSD, intense nerve pain throughout her body as a direct result of the false public accusations. She stated that she had gone to she said that physical and emotional impacts made it difficult for her to work as her position as a chair and also caused irreversible reputational harm. So we know that the TikToker represented herself, said that her readings led her to Scofield. So it talks a little bit about that. Okay, so in a statement provided to the Idaho Statesman, Scofield thanked the jury and she had hoped to return to a more normal life in Moscow. The professor, who appeared tearful throughout the verdict reading, said that the jury's decision sends a message, the clear message that false statements online have consequences in the real world for people and that are unacceptable in our community. The unalivings of the 4 students was the darkest chapter in our university's history, as well as the community. And today's decision shows the respect and care it should always be granted to victims during these tragedies. TikToker had begun her defense with a deep dive into her background as an Army veteran who later earned her bachelor's degree and master's degrees in fields related to business and human resources. She said she was working as an HR specialist for the federal government when she decided she wanted something for herself. She said she decided to leave her husband and pursue spirituality full time, during which she first learned about tarot as well as various religious and other beliefs, including numerology, which assigns relationships between numbers and life. TikToker said she watched YouTube videos to train herself to read tarot cards. She practiced on herself and by watching reality TV shows to predict their outcomes. Throughout her self-direction, TikToker sought to convince the jury that she believed everything she said in her readings about the professor and that they were true. She said she began making the videos about the case in Scofield in November 2022. She expected to raise awareness about the unalivings and push authorities to investigate potential leads. And they did. They did. They took it very seriously because TikToker also reported this to the FBI. They took every tip seriously. And when they said, hey, we ruled her out, that should have been the end of it, right? Scofield told the court earlier in the week that experience of seeing TikTok's videos was like reading the plot of a book or a movie, but being one of the characters and having zero control over the outcome. Over time, the videos became more elaborate and included expanded details about her personal and professional life. There was a moment where I felt like I lost ownership of my face and my name, and I was no longer stitched to my body. It was utterly terrifying. Can you just imagine? Boy. On November 27th, 2022, when Moscow PD wrote a statement that they didn't believe that she was involved, I kind of lost a little bit of hope that she would be investigated, but something in me wasn't allowed to give up. I mean, even the police publicly stated that she wasn't involved. It was my understanding that I do not have to hold the facts or documents to exercise speech, opinion at best. Maybe she needs to look up the definition of defamation. It is reasonable in my shoes that I believe that Scofield to be a part of these unalivings. It is reasonable for a person to want to warn the public if they think a killer is on the loose and still be part of the community. You don't even live in the community. All right. Two female jurors who also had ties to the case. One had previously seen some of the TikToks. The other has a younger brother who attends U of I. You created the threat by calling her a murderer when she was not. A mother of Rebecca. She's been harmed in so many ways beyond accounting. Do you not understand how much harm? Oh boy, I'm so glad you got to say that. You spoke lies into a camera about me and my husband. You were making dozens of videos about me, someone you never met, you never talked to, someone you had no connection to. I don't know how anyone could feel threatened by that level of interest from someone they had never met. Wow, isn't that so profound? That is so amazing. So, why am I bringing this to you? Why is this so important? Because when you are talking about people on TikTok and all of the internet, you have to be careful about what you say. Yes, you can go ahead and give your opinion about somebody and say, in my opinion, but if it harms them, what's the oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. Maligns them, that's the word I'm looking for. And you give them reputational harm, right? If they are harmed in any way by what you've stated. Now, just because they're hurt, their feelings are hurt, does that mean a defamation case can go forward? No, but anybody can sue anybody for defamation. Whether or not it goes forward in a courtroom, that's a different story. Obviously, there was enough merit for this to go through. Obviously, there was a summary judgment against her, and then they went for damages, which was incredible. That is an incredible, incredible feat. So we are going to look at the verdict form from the jury. And, you know, it's I just cannot tell you how amazing this is for me and how thrilled I am for the outcome of this. All right, so let's embiggen this, because that's a word now, because Mr. Bloodworth said it in the Corey Richards trial yesterday. Let's embiggen this. Okay, so this is the verdict form. It says, we, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn to try the above entitled case, do find the verdict as follows. Do you find, by a preponderance of the evidence, let's see if I can make it just a little bit bigger, that the defendant's false statements that the plaintiff had an inappropriate relationship with the student damaged the plaintiff? The answer is yes. If you answered yes, you go to question number 2. State the amount of compensatory damages related to the defendant's false statements. The plaintiff had an inappropriate romantic relationship with a student. $1 million. Go to question 3. Do you find, by a clear and convincing evidence, that the defendant's false statements that the plaintiff had an inappropriate romantic relationship with the student warranted punitive damages? The answer is yes. If you answered yes to question 3, go to question 4. State the amount of punitive damages related to defendant's false statements, and that is $2.5 million. Do you find, by the preponderance of the evidence, that the defendant's false statements that the plaintiff orchestrated the murders of the students? False statements. The answer is yes. So now you go to question number 6. State the amount of the compensatory damages. $1.5 million. Do you find, by the clear and convincing evidence, that the defendant's false statements that plaintiff orchestrated the unaliving of the students warranted punitive damages? The answer is yes. State the amount. $5 million. Dun, 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 dun. So there you have it, folks. Add all of that up, and what do we get? $10 million. I kid you not. That is amazing. I also want to show you the exhibit lists. So this is the exhibit list from Rebecca Scofield. And just to, we are law nerds to the highest. And so this is what they wanted to put into. So if you remember the hearing that they had, they needed to stipulate. A stipulate is, hey, do you agree that we're going to have these things? And then the other person says, yes, I agree. We're going to go ahead and make an agreement together, right? So it means to stipulate. You just agree to having these things come in evidence. So over here, there is a whole bunch of TikToks that they want to go ahead and have in. And so they were all stipulated to, which means the answer is yes. So here is some other ones. Now, they might not have gotten those in, but you'll see what was stipulated to and what came in. I also found it interesting that they played a clip of a video from something, I think it's called Nerd Report. And, it says, oh, TikToker solves the mysteries. And so it's like perpetuating the lie, right? That other people are reporting, and like me, I mean, I'm perpetuating this as well, but I'm perpetuating it on the other side where I feel like I am reporting this out to you as to what happened in the case and what not to do. Don't do this. So they continued down, and another one was called Madcaster. I don't know who that is. The ceased and the desist letters. The handbook concerning consensual romantic and sexual relationships with people who are at the university. Don't do it. Her medical records, therapy records. They had to do that for damages, etc. So one of the other things is, TikToker, did she make money on doing these TikToks? And I believe the answer is yes. So here is TikTokers, things that she wanted to put in. And they were objected to. And some of them were overturned. The judge let them in. Solving mysterious death. Oh, boy. So, you kind of see what she had to put in for herself. Remember, the TikToker was representing herself. Did she do a good job representing herself? I felt at times that she was fairly knowledgeable about things. Some of her filings were very, very entertaining, and some of them were on par. Like she objected to some of the stuff that one of the experts that was going to testify, she objected to some of the things, and some of it didn't come in. So where do we stand? Okay. So let me just see if I can find something really quickly. So TikToker can appeal the civil suit if they believe that there's a legal error or a significant mistake affected the trial's outcome. And will she? Probably. It says you cannot appeal simply because you are unhappy with the results. You must demonstrate that a legal error or a wrong error had occurred. Well, if you have seen throughout this trial, this TikToker tried a variety of things, First of all, the judge ruled against her. And so she's like, I want a new judge. And he's like, no. And then she's like, I don't want this to be done in Idaho. I want you to move it to Houston. I want you to move it to Texas because that's where I'm at. So everybody just move there. And the judge was like, no. Okay. Can you appeal the civil award, right? So it's $10 million. So you can appeal the civil award, but it's not a retrial. Appeals must be based on a specific legal error. Common reasons include significant legal mistakes, procedural errors, and rarely new discovered evidence. The appellate court will review the trial record and determine if there is a legal error. The higher court may affirm, reverse, or change the lower court's decision. I've heard some civil cases being overturned because it's deemed excessive, right? So you can appeal a civil award if it is deemed excessive, but the bar is high. To succeed, you must prove that the award was not supported by the evidence at trial, was based on improper passion, prejudice, and or violated constitutional due process. The appellate courts rarely reduce verdicts unless they are clearly excessive. So grounds for appeal. You must argue that the damages are not supported by the evidence, are against the weight of the evidence, and were influenced by passion or prejudice. Could she say that? Possibly. For constitutional limits, punitive damages, courts look at the reprehensibility of the conduct, the ratio of punitive to compensatory damages in comparison to similar cases. The appeal focuses on showing that the jury was emotional, the judge gave incorrect instructions, or the amount is impossible to pay. Now, I'm sure you might want to say the amount is impossible to pay because she stated clearly that she is doing the tickety talk full time. And is she making $10 million? If successful, the court may not reverse the entire finding, but likely will reduce the amount to a more equitable figure. It also states here, it is highly recommended to consult with a civil litigation attorney to determine if you have strong grounds for an appeal. Will she do that? Probably not. She has to pay a lawyer in the first place, and she didn't do that in this case, so here we are. All right, so law lovies, this is the end of the Tik Tok case. It was great. It was fun. It was very informative. It was very educational, and I hope that you enjoyed the ride. This is my long form content. Some people watch it, some people don't. I will go ahead and post a short video as well. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to hear what's going on. We will continue with the Corey Richins case on Monday. That's right. You don't want to miss that because the prosecution stated they only have a couple more witnesses and they are due to rest their case sometime next week. Now, if we continue going up for sidebars like they did yesterday, we're going to get nowhere. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to hear what's going on. I cover a variety of cases, and I'll remind you again, if you don't like the long form content, I do make short content that is just sort of to the point, 3 minutes or less. I do it on YouTube Shorts. I have it posted on my Facebook page at my legalese 123 right here. I'm also on the Tickety Talk. That's right. And you can also find me on X. I post a lot of variety of things. I try to provide a lot of content as well as the background information about what's going on. So thank you for joining me again. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Legalese 123. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.